So this was supposed to be episode 6, but now it's going to be episode 7 since we had to re-record it. But welcome guys to this new episode. I have my friend Kendra here. She's going to tell us some spooky stories of her personal experiences in the paranormal. As I mentioned in my last video, this is a redo because my SD card decided to corrupt. It's just like I'm a dip. And I even mentioned in the video, Kendra, I was like, kind of weird that it happened right when we're talking about, everything that's been happening to you. I don't know.
Oh,
It
it
could,
did?
well, yeah, that's what happened. Like, literally the same day that we recorded it, I tried to use the footage and, like, edit it, and the SD card completely corrupted. And I lost the footage.
Well, I know, but like, wait. You're saying what part did it corrupt? Was it the whole thing,
The whole
or like,
thing. And,
like,
like, yeah.
has that ever happened before? I mean, it could just be a jinx. It could just be like a.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was an old SD card, and we did use it a lot. But at the same time, it's like, what perfect timing, I don't know. And like, I was able to recover everything else that was on there previously, but not our video. So it's like, babe, it's
Spooky.
spooky. Okay, so yeah,
Spooky.
I'm gonna start off like
Um,
last time by asking you when when was the earliest that you had experienced, excuse me, when was the earliest when you started, seeing, not seeing, but like experiencing paranormal stuff?
well, um, I I've always believed in ghosts only because I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why. I find it very interesting. There was always weird things that happened in my house, but it wasn't like to the point where it's like, oh, this is haunted, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like I had experience like little tiny like would hear things or like I'm saying like a lot.
It's
Ugh,
okay.
so gross of
We're not
me.
in school.
Anyway, it's like it's hard to describe. Like I would get spooked easily, or like I felt like somebody was following me down the hallway, or I felt uneasy about turning the corner, or like just little things here and there. But like that
Yeah.
could just be me being a spooked out little child, you know? But I will say that my mother doesn't, she claims she doesn't believe in any of this, right? But I definitely have said, like, before that I thought this house was haunted growing up.
Yeah.
And, she was like, oh yeah, just ignore it. I was like, ignore what? And she was like, yeah, like I see things in my peripheral, but I just ignore them. Like, you just gotta ignore them. And I was like, excuse me? Ignore them?
Yeah. It's no
What do you
biggie.
mean, ignore them? You mean you see people? And she was like, I don't know, like, just drop it, like, whatever. Like,
Mm.
so I've always had this mirror, right? I actually have it. It's right over here.
Ooh.
It was my grandmother's. So she'd be my great grandmother. But
Oh
she
wow.
died like almost 3 years ago now. I always thought it was like this cool antique thing. Turns out they got it from Walmart. But
Love
but
that.
like I don't know, like it could be something from that, or the fact that I have all of my dead great grandmother's furniture in my apartment, or it could be anything, to be honest.
Right.
Like, especially the stuff in my house and my cat, my old cat, who's also dead. R.I.P. Socks. She just acted really weird about around that mirror,
Interesting.
like really weird. That was like the main thing that like freaked me out. I love that mirror though, because it like the actual mirror part opens up and it holds jewelry in it.
Oh.
That's like really cool. But
Yeah.
but yeah, and then like I don't know, like just really weird. If I had the mirror, she'd act weird around the mirror, like look at herself in the mirror, like make weird noises around the mirror. Sometimes wouldn't even go in the same room as the mirror. Like the more she got used to the mirror, in certain rooms, the more she would come around it, but stay distant from it.
Yeah.
And that could just also
Interesting.
be reading too much into things that I have no business reading into.
Yeah, but I mean, we all know that animals have a better perception of the spirit world, so don't think you're crazy. That could be very valid.
I'd say that most of my paranormal experiences happened in college, freshman year. I call it Bobby. I call him Bobby.
Okay.
But that's just something that came to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, it just felt
I
right.
call him Bobby. I don't know why he's a man. Like, I don't know. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I know we filmed this at your house in the beginning, right? But, like, it's so. I hate talking about him or talking about it in my house
Oh yeah,
because, like,
you're
it's
alone.
been so chill recently, but, like, also
Mm-hmm.
things always randomly happen, so it freaks me out.
Yeah.
But, like, to be honest, going back to the original question of, like, when do you think I started, like, experiencing things and believing things, it was probably most of the stuff that, like, I started actually researching this stuff and, like, getting into it during college.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I always felt odd in my house or whatever.
Yeah. You said
I
like
don't
in the
know.
dorm, right? That a few stuff had
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, there were a couple things. Like the iPad story is weird, but that also could
Yes.
be.
No,
But that
that's
could just
super
be
weird.
electronics. Here's my thing.
Here,
I believe in.
explain the story, and then we could talk about like what you think and like the after, like the theories.
Okay. Okay. I'll explain the story. So basically, one day I set my alarm for class, and I had this iPad. It was a mini iPad. Um, it was really old, and it had been dead for like years at this point. And I had one of those like Target, like kind of like the cheap ottomans you can get in the freshman year section of like the back to school stuff,
Yeah.
college edition at Target. It
Right, high
was at the
school supplies.
bottom of one of them. It was at the bottom of one of them. And it had a whole bunch of stuff in it. It had been dead for years. It was dead when before I even got to college, and I'm like through. I think I was in like the second semester or something like that. I'm not quite sure
Yeah, you said you had
of that.
like photo paper in there and like all these art
Yeah, I had
supplies.
photo paper, I had drawing paper, all of that. Like I had tools, everything like that. And then on top of that, there the lid was on it. On top of that, I had the mat board,
Oh yes.
and because I was in design, so we were
Mm-hmm.
doing all those stupid projects.
Yes, I remember.
Um, I had a whole bunch of mat board on top of that, like a toolbox thing with filled with like X-Acto knives, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had all my prints. I had more matte paper. Like the pile was probably 2 feet taller on top of the ottoman. And then my bed was raised up against the window, and under that, like I put a sheet on the side of it so you couldn't see under it because it was really messy under there. I used to shove things under it.
Yeah.
Um, but one day I was sleeping, I was facing the window, and I set like 20 alarms. But this day, I was woken up before my alarm to a phone call that was the name, like, and the caller ID was Kendra's iPad. And I was like, what the heck? And I was really confused because I don't remember if it was a FaceTime or an actual phone call, but it was coming from my iPad. And I asked later, like, what, because I knew this, right? But I like wanted to make sure. I basically asked if there was any other device under our family stuff, under any like family Apple devices that was named Kendra's iPad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only that one. At the time, I'm pretty sure actually, at the time, ever, I've been the only person with a mini iPad. And so I was getting a call from it, and I was like, what the heck? And at first I was like, oh, this is weird. And then like I finally like actually woke up. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, hold
And
up.
then it really freaked me out. And so like I got out of bed like hot dress. I don't even know if I brushed my teeth or brushed my hair. I literally just grabbed all my stuff and ran out the door and went to class. And then I asked one of my friends later, and we met up at the dining hall,
Yeah.
if they could come back with me to check under my bed because I was convinced someone was under my bed because at the
Oh, heck
time
no.
I didn't know that the iPad was in the ottoman.
Oh, you didn't even know where
I
it
thought
was,
it was
right?
in a box under my bed.
Oh,
So like I was like someone under my bed, like, and it was up high enough, like multiple human beings could have fit under my bed.
yeah.
And there was a sheet. I was just like wasn't gonna dare even check it. Um, so they came with me, and we pulled everything out from under the bed. It was this whole dramatic thing because I was like, "No, you look." She was like, "No, you look," and I was like, "No, you look." And then like, and I don't remember who it was, but we ended up ripping the sheet off from under the bed, and we looked under, nothing was there other than my clutter. And we pulled everything out, trying to look for the iPad. And then I found the iPad after we pulled everything out. Then I checked the other ottoman and I found the iPad and it was dead, which I knew it would have been. But like to
That's
actually
so
see it dead, it was
weird.
really weird. And it really
Yeah.
freaked me out.
Because,
And
like, I've heard of other stories where somebody gets a call from a loved one who's already passed away. And it's like the fact that they can manipulate a cell phone to show up, like, the caller ID, to have that name. And, like, I think it's so interesting. So I'm like, like, it's creepy, but it's, like, so interesting too.
yeah, it's really weird because, I mean, I tried to rationalize it. I was like, so it's not a human under my bed. The
Right.
thing's been dead. It's the only device that has the name of Kendra's iPad. Nobody else has access to it because it doesn't have data on it. It has to be connected to Wi Fi to work.
Right.
And it's been dead for forever. And you know, when an Apple device is being charged again after it's been dead for a long period of time, it takes like hours to turn back on.
Yeah, especially if it's like an
Sometimes
old
it takes
version.
forever.
Yeah.
It takes forever. And you're like, do you work? You work.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's very weird. Um,
I think part of me would have wanted to like answer, but I think it would have been too spooked.
yeah, I didn't answer. Well, at the time I was like, it was still ringing when I was like half asleep, and I was like, what the?
That's weird.
And then at the time when I finally like came to, because you know you wake up and you're groggy, and then you like fully wake up.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Very weird. Um, and then I was sitting on my bed, and I was on FaceTime with two friends, and my suite mate and I share a wall, and her bed is there, and my bed is there. And she was gone, and then I heard my friends that were on the phone were making fun of Bobby, and I was like,
Oh.
stop, don't make fun of Bobby. And then I think they got scared and hung up on me or something. I don't remember if they were on
Oh
the phone
wow.
still when that happened, but like it sounded like on the other side of the wall, and I had a picture frame behind me, it sounded like somebody was on my suite mate's bed hanging on the wall, and I could feel the painting coming off the wall and like hitting me. Like it was that loud. And I freaked out and texted my suite mate and I was like, "Are you home?" And she was like, "No. I mean, I told you to like check my room, make sure everything was okay. Like, is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I already checked your room, but like I don't know what's going on." Like something like that. And I finally went over there and checked, and I explained everything to her. And like she knew that I was dealing with like something going on in my room. Um and I think she had started having some instances or something like that, but it
Oh.
spooked her enough to where she ended up coming back. When she came back, because during spring break she went on a trip, she came back with Sage. And because she's Native American, she like did a whole thing, and then we almost got in trouble because we
Of
took
the
off the
smoke.
smoke detectors. But like it helped.
You're like, it's for our safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Um, it was really scary. It was really scary. So like I have this respect for Bobby. Um, like in the sense of like Bobby does what Bobby does and I do what I do.
Yeah.
And I have very, very strong boundaries of like, you can't come near me, you can't talk to me, you can't communicate with me, you can't touch me, you can't hurt me. Like, you do you, and I do me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I ever feel like those boundaries are being crossed, I say the same thing over and over and over again, and then I pray. Like,
Yeah.
a lot. Another thing that's happened, I moved in with my best friend. Um, and at this time, we had already lived together for a few years. But we ended up moving into an apartment together alone. And there was this one time, so it was kind of during COVID time, so she was still doing a class online. And she was in her room doing her online class or whatever. So I could see the light on in her room from under the door, but the whole apartment had the lights off because, you know, conserving energy, saving the electric bill and stuff.
Yeah, no, for real.
And I came home from like a later class, and uh, it was already really dark outside, so everything was dark.
Mm-hmm.
And like I for some reason didn't turn my light on. I just turned my flashlight on my phone, and I took the trash out to the dumpster, which is really close. Probably shouldn't have done that after dark, but I did it. And then I came back in, the door or everything was still dark, whatever. And then I went in my room, turned on the light, and was doing my own thing. A little bit later, um, my roommate comes to my room, and she was like, "Why did you leave the fridge open?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "The fridge is open." And I was like, "I didn't even go near the fridge. I literally took out the trash and I went in my room and all the lights were off. I didn't even turn a light on. I used my phone flashlight or whatever."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Okay, that's weird because the fridge is wide open." And I was like, what? So then I got up, we walked out to the living room and the kitchen, and the fridge door is wide open, like all the way open. And the light, obviously, the fridge was on, so it was illuminating the whole living room.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on here? So weird.
Creepy. That is super
And
weird.
then,
Like,
and then my friend was like, no, Bobby.
oh yeah, or she said something
No,
like,
Bobby.
like I can't deal with this, Bobby.
Yeah, that was a little weird. And then also living
Definitely.
there, like, while I was living there, there was some instances where I stayed up really late. Like, I love nighttime. Like, for some reason, I'd rather stay up all night than go to bed
Mm-hmm.
early. Even when I try, I can't. It's so hard for me. I don't think I've been to bed before midnight,
Oh
like,
wow.
in a while. And the last time I tried was my graduation, and I didn't end up going to sleep at all. um, but me saying that is that I'm usually up at 4 in the morning, and I have my door closed, and my roommate's in her room sleeping because she goes to bed early like a normal human. And well, I was up, and I all like living there, like I always heard like it sounded like a large human being with boots on, not like cowboy boots, but like work boots on,
Mm.
but was like walking around. And you know, it's like a distinct sound because it's like you can hear the rubber,
Yeah.
but it's like hard rubber.
Interesting.
And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's not the right sound effect, but you know what I mean. I feel like it's very distinct. So yeah, it was always so odd.
That's crazy.
It always sounded like somebody was walking around, and it really freaked me out.
Or other instances that I'm
There were a
forgetting.
lot of little things that happened. I forgot a lot of them because like there was a mirror that fell off our wall that had been there the entire year,
Oh
and
yeah.
it just randomly fell off the wall in the middle of the night,
That's so
like
weird.
in the middle of the night, and woke up my roommate, but I didn't wake up. It would sound like someone was moving paper across the countertops sometimes in the middle of the night. Then nothing would be out of place.
Yeah.
And I was the only one that ever heard the things that happened in the middle of the night just because she was asleep.
Yeah.
Those were weird. Just like feeling uncomfy too. Sometimes feeling like you're being watched.
For sure.
Then fast forward to where I'm living right now,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm moving out on
Very soon.
Saturday. Yeah, moving out. So I've been living here alone the past almost 2 years.
Yeah.
August will be 2 years. This is the part where I'm really scared to talk about this in my house. It happened in this room.
Yeah.
You see, I'm in a corner.
Yes.
This is the wall. But before, my bed was in the middle of the room against this wall. I'm gonna turn my camera around so you can see kind of like the layout of my room. But just to be warned, it's kind of a disaster because I've been packing and
You're moving out. Yeah.
there's
Fine.
clutter everywhere. I mean, it's really not that bad, but there's like boxes, there's like random clothing items and stuff, and then like
Yeah.
something. But here's the layout. This is the door to the living room. Here's the bathroom, and then my closet is right here.
Good.
And then this is the wall here, and there's the window. Where's my hand? There's a window. But right here is the corner I'm referring to.
Okay.
In between the bathroom and the living room.
Understood.
But basically, I was up late. I think I'd moved in, and it was very weird because I'd been talking to my friend about, like, has anything happened with Bobby? Because when we moved, we had a conversation where, like, do you think Bobby's gonna, like, follow you? Or, like, what do you think? And I was like, I hope not. And then she was like, he's not following me. That's not allowed. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And, like, I was just like, I really don't think anything is gonna happen, right? Because at this point, like, I feel like although I believe in all of this stuff, I'm most of the time in denial about it. Because, like, I mean, I can't find any rational reason for why certain things happen. And yeah, there could possibly be an explanation, but I just can't think of one.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's just weird. And then I'm like, but I don't believe it, but I do believe it, but like, no, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes. And I'm
We
like always
trick
going back and
ourselves.
forth about it. Yeah. And like, I remember this distinctly, and I remember the feeling I had distinctly, but it was probably the worst thing that ever happened. And by me telling the story does not give you an invitation to cross my boundaries. Anyway,
Yes.
basically, I was working on a mom, and I had like just moved in. I'd been living here for a week, and I had mentioned to my friend, the reason why I brought the other stuff up is I'd mentioned to my friend that nothing had happened yet, and like everything was fine. They were like, okay, great, whatever. Then moving on. But I guess it waited till I was like completely comfortable and settled to scare me to death. And I had stuff all over my bed, like ribbon, feathers, everything. And I wasn't even watching anything spooky. I was watching My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding. Where they're like making the victim ready for like the crazy wedding stuff. It was so funny, right? And I had a lamp over here. It was one of those tall, like Walmart lamps.
Oh yeah.
And I had like a colored bulb in it, but I had it on like the orange setting. And I realized it was around 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was like, okay, well, I should probably go to sleep now. I started cleaning everything up, putting it all in the box, like setting it aside for tomorrow, whatever. And I was leaning this way, and I was like, okay, let me finish this episode. I literally had like 5 minutes left of it, so I finished it. And I was like, okay, so I plugged my phone in, put on the alarm, everything like that. And I then decided to roll over to the side. And first, sorry, back it up. I turned the light off, and then I decided to roll over to the side.
Got it.
And as I was rolling over in that corner, I was showing you guys, it was like literally a shadow or like a person. It looked, I could not tell if it was a person or something else, but I was like shook. And it was, I think, taller than the door frame, but I could make out like the shape of a person. And it really, 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 really scared me. And it was in that corner. And I just remember rolling over. I continued to roll over because I don't know why. I literally like decided to ignore it and be those little kids in the scary movies and hide under my blanket.
Yeah.
I was literally frozen with like shock and
Yeah.
confusion. And I remember being I remember laying there and I had my eyes open. I was facing this wall um to my right. And I just felt this overwhelming feeling of dread. I ended up closing my eyes because I was like, I can't do this. I don't want something to walk out in front of me. And I was like, thinking to myself, I was like, either I'm about to get murdered and it's a real person and I'm really not handling this well, or I'm gonna turn over and there's nothing's gonna be there and it's gonna be something else and
Yeah.
both just as scary. But I just, this overwhelming fear and this overwhelming like feeling of dread. Like I can't even come to any more words than dread. Like
Yeah.
dread. Like, it felt like death. It was just like what my interpretation of like what death could be.
Hmm.
Just one of my biggest fears.
Yeah.
I mean, not as much anymore, but like not in a weird way. But
Yeah. No, no, I get that.
um, but like I don't know. It really, 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 really scared me. And then I rolled over and nothing was there. And I turned the light on. And
Weird.
I just went to bed. But it really, 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 really scared me. Like I'll never forget that feeling. It was like the scariest thing ever.
Yeah, I can't
And I
imagine.
tried to be like, I tried to make like did I just see that? Am I just tired? Like
Hmm.
what's going on? But that doesn't explain the feeling I got.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what it was. To me, that's not Bobby.
Hmm.
Bobby and I
Yeah.
have a respect, or at least I do. And I don't know what that was.
Yeah. Like you could definitely
Unless
feel
I don't
something's
know what,
bad.
I don't, yeah, unless I don't know,
Right.
like, who Bobby is, but I'm pretty sure I know who Bobby is and we have a
Ooh.
respect. So,
Sorry. My
ooh,
ring light. My
spooky.
ring light fell, but honestly, it was not stable. So I'm not surprised that happened.
Yeah, I can talk about it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I have a, now that I'm, like, talking about it, I'm like, ooh, why am I frozen?
Are you frozen?
I'm frozen.
You are frozen.
Ooh, that really freaks me out. I don't like that.
Do you think it's just because you've been using the? I mean, we've kind of been on for almost an hour. I think like 40 some minutes now. So it could just be that. There
I'm
you go.
back.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I thought you got disconnected. I was like,
Oh, spooky.
it's
Uh,
spooky.
another instance. It was a while ago when the first voice happened, but it wasn't a voice, it was a whisper. I went to go turn on my security alarm to go to sleep, like the other setting of the security alarm.
Yeah.
Um, and I was walking back into my room, but all the lights were off. I had my like flashlight on, but it's like a phone flashlight, so it doesn't really do much. And like in the back of my ear, the right ear, I heard hello. And it really, really scared me, but I ignored it and kept on moving, and then I
Yeah.
watched TikTok.
That's how we distract ourselves from life. TikTok.
Yep. And then another time I was sitting in here, I was doing underglaze on my ceramics. And I believe, did I call you, or was it that I also called my sister? I think I did call you.
Yeah, you definitely did call
Or
me for one of those times.
I think I did multiple. But the time that I was sitting and I heard, it's a distinct noise, and I feel like everybody knows this noise. It's the sound of when a shampoo bottle or
Oh
soap
yeah.
bottle falls into a bathtub. It's like that hollow bang.
Yes.
And I heard that, and my cat likes to push things off all the time. And so I was like, Soul, stop it, stop it. Cat's gonna hear me now. Like, what are you doing? Stop, get out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then, because I was calling his name, he woke up and walked into my room from the living room. And the bathroom and the living room are not connected. And it really scared me. And then, most recent thing that happened was I was sitting on my bed right here, right in the same position of where my bed is right now. And there's a wall here. Can't, like, there's nothing behind me, like, you know? I'm watching TikTok on my phone. I'm like this. I'm literally like this. Watching TikTok, blah, 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 scroll, scroll. And I heard in this ear loud. Like, it sounded like it was somebody was right here and said it. Somebody, like a woman say, hello. There was like tone to it. It sounded like a woman. And I can't really recreate it properly, but like you kind of get the gist.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? And so I paused my video, and I was like, okay, paused it, and then I even rewinded the video to make sure it wasn't in the video.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Video had no women in it. For one.
Yeah.
Two, it wasn't, there was no audio in it that had that. And I also tried to recreate it, it didn't work. So,
Weird.
yeah,
I think
very
you're
weird.
just you have like really good energy, so I feel like you attract a lot, and I feel like you also are susceptible to a lot of these things, which is why you either have the ability to hear these things or see these things. And I know you're like, I don't want that, but that's just who you are. And
Not like that. I feel like I have a good energy, but I think that you have like a very open energy. And maybe because I'm researching all of this stuff and I'm interested and like open to learning about it, that's making me open to having experiences more.
yeah, for sure.
But like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's not a crazy statement. Dang. I mean, nothing. It's been pretty quiet for me, honestly. Like, I'm like, hey, y'all, I need content. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah,
No.
no, I know. I'm just joking. But which I'm thankful for. Like, I'm not going through stuff in my life that is keeping me in like this bad place, because I feel like they feed off of negative energy sometimes. So yeah, but I mean, I also know that there's spirits who are just around, and I don't know. I am curious to see if I were to like develop my senses, how much more experiences I would have, but we'll see. We'll see.
I do think that like if you become open, like I heard somebody say this once, or like I was watching a video and somebody said this. I don't know what it was though.
Yeah.
Like the more open or open-minded you become, because we are a spirit, we are like we our soul, we have a soul, we are a soul, or whatever, within a body, that like we are capable of, every single person is capable of like knowing more than like we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Like we are capable of like or being involved or like having those experiences
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people are closed off experiences. But like I said, or I didn't say, but like I thought, I'm no expert.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. Like I think you're spitting facts right now, Kendra. You're spitting facts. But yeah, no, this was good.
One of them, I was in Fredericksburg and I was hungover, and I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but it's like a little wine town in Texas, and they have wineries and stuff. And I had my friend there, my aunt and my mom, and I was hungover, so I wanted to nap before we went to dinner. And like my friend was like, "You have an hour before we leave," blah blah blah. And I was like, "Okay." So I was sleeping. I was abruptly startled out of my sleep. The feeling of somebody yanking on my ankles, like pulling my ankle, both of them. Like they grabbed both ankles and yanked.
Oh, heck no.
Before I even opened my eyes, I was like, I said my friend's name, like yelled it. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to sleep. I only have an hour. Like, stop. And then I opened my eyes and she wasn't even in there. She was in the living room
Oh, heck
with my family the whole time.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to re-record this episode.
Of course!
Yeah. And to everybody watching, thank you again for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed Kendra's stories. I will link her Instagram, her photography Instagram, because she does amazing wildlife photography. You guys should really check it out. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one.
Oh,
Bye.
thanks.
Yeah.
Shucks. Oh, shucks.
Shucks. Okay. Bye.